Welcome to episode 58 of Fascinating, a Star Trek podcast. The Paradise Syndrome.
In this week's episode, Kirk suffers amnesia after a knock to the head, leading him to believe he is a godlike figure to a village of Native Americans under threat of an asteroid strike. When Spock and the Enterprise fail to divert the threat, Kirk is forced to try and activate the planet's defences. But can he succeed without his memories? Or will the planet meet an untimely end?
All right, you lovelies, all together.
Good evening, Ian. How are you holding together?
Oh, barely.
Lovely.
How are you, Gerry? How are you doing?
Not bad.
You enjoy this week's episode?
Yeah, I mean, again, we've said it before. Season 3 has a lot to recommend
So far?
This maybe isn't the best episode in terms of the classic nature of the show, but it did address some pretty serious issues. It was, to paraphrase Marty McFly, it was quite heavy.
Yeah, a fairly brutal conclusion.
Yeah. Which in itself, I think, made it worthwhile.
And some of your favourite questionable decision making.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, we've just come to accept that now. He's not a very good... None of them are very good decision makers.
Yeah, not just from Kirk, yeah.
What did you think of it?
I enjoyed it, actually. I thought it was a good episode.
Mm-hmm. Some issues. I can't remember what the language was like because we obviously, or I certainly, took notes referring to Native Americans. I'm not sure if...
They call them American Indians.
Yeah.
Shall we get into the episode itself?
Why not? Let's crack on.
We begin on the surface of the planet.
Does the planet ever get named?
Not in the episode, we know it from the script.
Okay, what is it in the script?
Amaranth.
Oh yeah, it's a bit... Okay, anyway. It's a serene setting of a forest, a lake. It's some sort of panpipe style. I'm not sure what instrument it is, but it sounds like panpipes. There's a score. As Kirk, Spock and McCoy materialise and are delighted, but surprised, to discover how similar this place is to Earth.
Yes, Spock confirms that this is very, very unlikely.
I'm very surprised the amount of times they've landed places which are very similar to Earth.
Yeah, they're not used to it by now. McCoy spots a structure which Spock confirms to be composed of an alien metal, however.
Yeah, you can't even get readings on it. It's that alien to them.
Indeed, and it's got little drawings on it.
Yeah, and not only that, it's the complex nature of the design, I think Spock says, is only known to civilizations who are quite advanced.
Yeah, he suggests they'd be at least as advanced as they are, if not more so. And McCoy notes at this point that everything about this planet seems to be an enigma. And
then they just slip something in. Kirk asks where the nearest collection of life forms are, and how long they have until they have to divert the asteroid.
Yeah, there's a big question here. So the answer to that question is half an hour. And the asteroid's quite far away. That's quite a tight window.
It's very tight. 30 minutes.
Why are they even on the planet?
No idea.
Divert the asteroid first.
Yes.
And then come and see it.
They're quite casually walking around going, smell the flowers. Isn't this lovely? Oh, it's so peaceful.
Crap, the asteroid. No.
Yeah, what are they doing?
And
why have they only got there? Like, asteroids didn't just materialise. This must have been heading in this direction for a fair
number of years.
Yeah.
They've arrived with half an hour to spare and they're wasting it.
Yes. Indulging in...
So, nice flowers. It'll be a shame when this
gets blown up. I'm so relaxed. I really can't be bothered doing anything. Oh, but I must. It's like the Wizard of Oz in the poppy field.
Right.
There's the Emerald City. Oh, let's just have a lie down. No, we're almost there. It's cool.
Spock even goes to the extent of saying every second they lose is a problem.
I mean, the 30 minutes isn't even enough for this episode.
Yeah, and Kirk says, it's 30 minutes, let's go and see what's going on.
So they head off, and across the lake, we see what looks like Native Americans, or American Indians, according to McCoy, complete with wigwams, teepees. I'm not sure, is wigwam, can you say that these days?
I don't know. You say wigwam, these sort of wooden camping, glamping structures you get these days are called wigwams.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can say teepees or I don't know.
Let's just call them tents.
Yeah. Spock says the people are a mix of the Navajo, Mohican and Delaware tribes, who are the more advanced and peaceful ones. It's a little bit tricky.
It's a bit of a backhanded compliment. It's like, the other ones are all savages who scalp you. And Kirk is amazed and considers it to be like discovering Atlantis, and asks Spock if there could be a more evolved civilization somewhere else on the planet who could have built this structure and developed a deflector system.
Yeah, Spock doesn't think so because their scanners didn't find anybody. They've had planets before where their scanners didn't find anybody that had population on it, but okay.
McCoy, what does he suggest?
He wants to know whether they should warn these people about the incoming asteroid, but Kirk says there's no point doing that, and Spock says I could only confuse and upset them.
Yeah, they're too primitive.
We find out later that they already know.
Yeah.
So Kirk decides at this point they're going to head back up to the ship, but reflect slowly on their way back about the way of life that these people enjoy.
Yeah, I'd like to also mention as well, it's like, they say that they're too primitive, it would only scare them. Yeah, like our sophisticated society would not be in any way worried about an asteroid
that's about
30
to hit
minutes away.
Yeah.
We're so advanced. And
No, the asteroid's not 30 minutes away. They've got 30 minutes to get to the asteroid and divert it. But that's at warp 9.
yeah.
Anyway, McCoy, half jokingly at this point, diagnoses Kirk with Tahiti syndrome.
What's that?
It's an illness where stressed executives dream of throwing all aside and living on a beach.
Over at the obelisk, Kirk goes to have a final look. Again, never mind about the time.
Yeah, one more chance, hang on.
But what happens?
Well, McCoy starts scanning with the tricorder, and as Spock tells him there's no time for that, Kirk contacts the Enterprise.
And at this point, a trapdoor opens
And he falls through it.
into a computer room.
Yeah, Chekhov answers the communication, but there's no response again from Kirk. And inside we see him stand up and be zapped.
Yes, unconscious by forks of what looks like green electricity.
Yeah. He kind of collapses across a control panel at this point, and we get the credits.
Followed by spot log 4842.6. They can't find Kirk.
Yeah, basically.
So back outside the obelisk.
Spock is standing where Kirk had been standing when he disappeared and contacts the Enterprise himself, but this time there's no trapdoor.
Yeah, he tells Scotty to prepare to beam him up and has to explain to an astonished McCoy why he is making the call to leave without their captain.
That asteroid is almost as large as your Earth's moon. Far enough away, the angle necessary to divert it enough to avoid destruction is minute. But as the asteroid approaches this planet, the angle becomes so great that even the power of a starship...
The devil with an asteroid! It won't get here for 2 months, Spock!
If we arrive at the deflection point in time, it may not get here at all.
In the meantime, what about Jim?
Once the asteroid has been diverted, we'll return here and resume the search.
That may be hours from now. He may be injured or dying.
Doctor, assume this is the planet we're on. This is the approaching asteroid. If we don't get to that deflection point in time, it will become physically impossible to divert this asteroid. In that case, everyone on this planet will die, including the captain.
Can a few more minutes matter, Spock?
In the time it has taken me to explain the problem, the asteroid has moved from here to here. The longer we delay, the less the likelihood of being able to divert it.
Spock quite clearly just taking the mickey out of McCoy at this point.
Yeah, it was a rubbish and totally pointless explanation.
Here are 2 rocks. It doesn't actually solve the problem at all.
Blackadder would have done it better. He would have explained it better to Baldrick with his fist in Baldrick's face.
As the 2 objects.
Yeah.
I was thinking of salt cellars on a table.
That's
Move it in.
That's for the offside rule.
Okay.
In any case, they beam up.
They do, and we go back to the chamber inside the obelisk where we hear Kirk's thoughts as though they were a log.
Yeah, now, is this the first time we hear an internal voice? I'm not sure.
No, I don't think it is.
It's not. It's quite lazy. It's easy exposition. They can't, it's just
they're telling us, not showing us.
Yeah. In any case, we discover that he doesn't know where or who he is and doesn't recognise his communicator or phaser.
Doesn't know how he got there, but he knows how to use stairs, and he finds a flight of those and walks up and out of the obelisk.
Yeah, back up to the plinth, and outside He's just in time to witness the arrival of two attractive native women who are walking past and see him rise. What do they do?
Well, the first of these is a woman who we'll find out is called Miramani or Miramani.
Now, this name annoys me. The note-taking was a complete pain in the backside to do, and I could never remember how to say it.
And the other woman, I think, is her handmaiden.
Okay, is it a real name?
Miramani, I don't know, possibly. Anyway, they kneel before Kirk as he emerges from the obelisk, and she walks up the steps and puts her hand to his forehead, or put his hand to her forehead.
Yeah, she approaches with great reverence.
He asks who they are, and she says that they are his people who have been waiting for him to arrive. We get another Spock log.
4843.6. Because of the delay on the planet, they have to travel at an unsafe warp speed to the asteroid.
This begs a number of questions. What were they on the planet for? Being the main one.
Yeah.
They're now going to break the ship to get to the asteroid in time.
Yeah, well, in engineering, a worried Scotty warns Spock that they can't hold Warp 9 for long, but he firmly states that they can't reduce speed as they're going to miss this deflection point.
And Scotty says, that's okay, but you've been warned. And Spock says, fine, carry on.
Back to the camp, the natives' camp.
There's an older man who notes that Kirk's appearance seems to fulfill a prophecy, but they're not 100% sure.
Yeah, I think he is the elder of the tribe. And when Kirk admits to being unclear about things, a younger, more aggressive medicine chief called Salish states that he must prove he is a god if he is to save them from the impending danger. So this is the first time we realise that they're
aware of it.
Yeah.
Salish, though, is chastised for interrupting the elder, but he says that the elder says now that the skies have darkened 3 times since the last harvest, as predicted by legend, and it is said that the wise ones will send a god to save them, who can rouse the temple spirit and make the sky grow quiet. And he asks Kirk, is this you? But this is at odds with what we come to learn is the normal way of dealing with this sort of thing.
In what way?
That the medicine chiefs would pass the knowledge down from father to son.
Yeah, that's a good point. They do seem to
conflicting traditions
deflect off the path of the plot.
Slightly. Anyway, Kirk says he knows he came from the temple, but also from the sky, but he has no memory other than that.
Mm-hmm. How comfortable are you with the representation or the presentation of these tribes who believe are quite gullible, susceptible to this sort of guff? Someone appears and they're quite happy, immediately want to worship him. They can't.
No, and you've got this whole white saviour thing going on here as well. You've got a tribe of natives, and then white guy comes from the sky and solves all their problems.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least he doesn't solve all their problems.
No, he's useless.
Yeah.
Apart from this one time, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, well, we're about to get to it. So Miramani interrupts here to ask Salish for help. A little boy from the village had become entangled in the fishnets and appears to have drowned, and Salish says, sorry, he's dead.
Yeah, he's an idiot, Salish. He's obviously dead. But Kirk does some mouth-to-mouth and some very odd rejuvenation techniques. Was this a thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Really? Rubbing your legs vigorously?
Yeah.
That looks more like if you've got cramp when you're playing football.
I would say so, yeah, but I don't know.
It seems like the pumping thing. I'm trying to think. The only time I've ever done that was with the kids. So if they've got bad wind, you'd maybe, if they were lying back.
When they were very small.
Yeah, when they're babies, and you'd manipulate their legs, but the whole sort of rubbing down and smashing.
It's the same sort of idea, trying to get the water out of the system. You don't see any water being coughed up here.
No.
And he doesn't do any chest compressions or anything like that.
Yeah, he doesn't really come round very obviously. You're waiting for that whole sort of thing and spurt and then open and saying something, but he just sort of go, right, he's fine now.
Yeah, take him away. The elder and the others are astonished nevertheless, and Kirk explains that it's a simple technique that goes way back.
Yeah, of course, this cements his position as a god, or their god.
Yes, only a god can breathe life into the dead.
Salish then has the indignity of having his medical badge removed and given to Kirk before they all bow down and worship him. Kirk is going to love this, isn't he? That's the type of thing. He's been waiting for this
memory or no memory.
Yeah, it was just ingrained in him. He knows this is what he wants. He doesn't know why, but he knows this is good.
It's a complete emasculation of Salish as well.
Yeah, hand it over, wee man.
You go back to being a regular guy. Up on the Enterprise bridge, they've arrived at the asteroid somehow without breaking down, but Spock and Scotty are once again engaged in a difficult conversation.
What's that about?
Spock wants full power for their deflector so they can move this asteroid out of the way, but Scotty says that they've pushed things too hard and the relays will reject the overload.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Spock tells him to bypass these relays, but Scotty says that'll burn out the engines, and Spock doesn't care, he just wants full power, so Scotty does what he's told, and Spock has the ship brought to a full stop and tells him to prepare to activate these deflectors.
Is this before or after the dilithium crystals start to fail?
This is before, so Chekhov at this point reports the first power drop, so Spock gets annoyed and calls again for full power, and this is where Scotty says dilithium crystal circuit is failing, and Spock's like, I don't care, I want full power.
Yeah, and then they hit the rock with the deflectors.
Yes, and Sulu reports that they failed.
I must admit to being confused here. Maybe it's because I'm thinking of the deflector shields, but...
Yeah, so it's kind of deflector beam. This is the only time you ever see it, so kind of a gold beam.
But why would you have a beam just for deflecting? Surely you've just got like a phaser, something that fires. You've got a gun, effectively, a weapon.
Yeah, well, they just want to shove it. They don't want to blow it up. So they're trying to move it, and it doesn't move it enough.
So they never use... So this deflector beam could never be used as a weapon. So if you're attacking a Klingon ship, you wouldn't use a deflector beam.
No, because all it would do is move them, not hurt them.
Why? I don't know how. It's like having a slow bullet. I don't understand how that would work. You're firing something at it.
Yeah, you're firing like a long arm that pushes.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
There's no explosive energy in it. There's no...
it's garbage.
There's no...
Don't like it.
Detonation of any kind.
Deflector shield, yep, where you just want to ward off the attack. Either you attack yourself. None of this halfway,
You won't like the Next Generation. The deflector dish is hugely important in that every other episode they're doing something to the deflector dish.
Right, okay.
Anyhow, Spock's now got plan B in place.
What's that?
They're going to fly right in front of the asteroid and then shoot it.
It's a better one. I'm sure, I've not seen Armageddon, but is this not the same sort of idea? We've had a few movies.
Well, Armageddon, they go onto the asteroid and drill a hole and try and explode it from the inside.
Right, okay.
Or is that Deep Impact? I don't know which one's which.
Who knows, but you want to blow this thing up. Never mind just pushing an asteroid, just blow it up.
The risk of blowing up is you might still have pieces large enough to cause an extinction event heading towards the destination.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a risk. Spock, I mean, we're flying at warp 9. The Enterprise could have exploded.
Yeah.
They should have tried this first. Let's just blow up the rock.
This is what McCoy says now. If they sit in front of it and try and shoot it, they might be destroyed themselves. But Spock rejects that analysis.
Well, it's not just themselves. I think he points out that the planet might also get struck with it, and Kirk might not be able to get out of the way.
Yeah. Shooting it's not a safe plan because there could still be large chunks of the asteroid on the original path.
But Spock says, it's a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah. Well, there's not got many options now.
Back down at the lake. Salish is not happy.
This is a very bad moment for Salish.
Tell me about it.
So he approaches Miramani, who tells him that since he's been replaced as Medicine Chief, she's no longer with him, she's marrying Kirk instead. And he should find somebody else.
Kirk. Yeah, he seems pretty distressed and claims that he wishes no other, but she tells him that she's no choice. And
he asks if she would choose him if she was allowed to, and she kind of doesn't answer and shuffles off.
She walks away
looking at the floor.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's quite embarrassing for him.
Yeah.
Oh no.
He should just leave in shame.
He should do, yeah.
Go and start a new village by himself.
Listen, the ladies love Kirk. That's
how it goes.
So in the tent, or the wigwam, or the teepee.
Yeah, Kirk's making a lamp, I think.
He's whittling, yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
Using his old skills. Miramani returns asking if he wants a bath.
Which he surprisingly refuses.
Yeah, because he wants more information.
Yeah, we can get the information in the bath. I would be right up for that. Yeah, you can bathe me and we'll talk.
That's how Game of Thrones worked for about 2 seasons.
Is it?
Just bathe people and tell them things.
Right.
Anyhow.
Yeah, he wants to know about the wise ones.
The wise ones, yeah. She's taken aback, I think. She assumes that a god would know everything already, but he insists that she tell him.
She's taken aback by that, but why would she think that a god likes a bath?
Yeah, I don't know. She explains that the wise ones brought them here from far away and chose a medicine chief to keep the secret of the temple to use when the sky darkened.
But the bigger issue here is that she doesn't know how his shirt works.
Well, this is it. So how stupid is she?
Well, she's stupid.
It's a bit of a strange characterisation not to know how to lift a shirt off someone's head.
No, I think it's because...
all their shirts lace up.
Yes. We didn't have the technology perhaps to have a completely woven garment back then perhaps.
Yeah. It seems a bit of an odd thing.
I mean, I'm starting to talk about this and I realise I have no idea how looms and knitting and things like that work.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't get into that.
See those machines, you see them back in the day from 150 years ago.
Yeah.
And you think, how did you invent? I'm watching it going, I still don't know what it's doing here. It's clunking, it's clanking. And
The jumper comes out.
Yeah, it's doing all this sort of stuff, and it's turning silk into, or cotton into all this sort of stuff, and I'm utterly baffled by it. Don't know what. Even knitting, I'll be honest, knitting, I don't get that.
No.
I've done it before. When I was a kid, my aunt used to knit, and she would let me so you could do the technique where you would wrap it around and drop it down and move it along, but that was just doing 10 stitches. I've no idea how you can follow a pattern and make a t-shirt or a jumper.
I think it's magic.
It is. It's witchcraft, that.
Yeah. It should be banned, to be honest.
Yeah, well, whoever does it.
Yes. Kirk asks Miramani at this point why Salish doesn't use this power if it's been passed down from father to son, and he's told, like we mentioned earlier, that Salish's father doesn't trust him and died without telling him the secret.
And at this point, food arrives, and then the elder tells him that they want to honour him, but don't even know his name.
Yeah, he says it's Kirk. And the elder says, Kirk, okay.
Yeah, he struggles, but he managed to say Kirk from his memory, and so the elder suggests Kirk, and his uncertainty is taken as a slight against him.
Have we displeased you?
No, everything's fine.
And it must be ourselves, the way we live. Perhaps we have not improved as quickly as the wise ones wish.
Your land is rich, your people happy. Who could be displeased with that?
But there is something. Tell us. We will change it.
I can't tell you anything. All I can tell you is that I'm happy and peaceful here. I'm not sure, but I think I've never felt that way before. Why are they so sure I can help them?
Well, you came from the stone metal. And did you not bring life to the child?
Yes, but I need time to remember.
Here there is much time. For everything.
Back up in the bridge, they have targeted the asteroid's weakest point, and Spock has them focus the phasers with maximum intensity. They're going to fire for as long as Scotty can maintain power.
Yeah, Scotty doesn't seem to have gathered the urgency of this mission,
but accepts that they have to fire all four phasers, and then they prepare to fire all of them together as he laments his poor bearings.
Yeah, so he's more concerned about his ship than the fact that they need at all costs to stop this asteroid hitting the planet.
Mm-hmm. Back to the tent.
Kirk's been dressed up now.
And Miramani joins him while he rests and tells him she would like to name the day that they are to be betrothed, as is the custom.
Yes. Turns out it's tomorrow.
Yeah, he doesn't resist.
No, he's quite happy.
Mm.
Up in, I think, Spock's quarters.
Yep.
He's looking at an image of this obelisk from the planet on his monitor and seems to be meditating or thinking about it.
I think he's just trying to work out. No, he's trying to work.
Studying it.
Studying the writing, I think.
Okay. Scotty comes on reporting that the warp engines are bust.
They only have impulse power now, as the star drive. Is that, have we mentioned that before? The star drive? I don't recognise
that phrase.
Anyway, he can't fix it. There's no chance he can do it in space.
No, they need to get to a depot.
McCoy then has quite a blunt and savage attack on Spock.
Has McCoy just arrived or was he there all along?
I think he was there. Or,
Okay.
I'm not sure, but anyway, he attacks Spock here. Tell me about it.
He points out that this calculated risk has backfired for them, for the planet and for Kirk, for which Spock accepts responsibility. And after ignoring McCoy's advice to take some rest, he instructs Chekhov to set a course back to the planet, which McCoy doesn't see the point in.
Yeah, I think he says this is because the asteroid will be 4 hours behind them.
Yeah, so it's going to take, I think, 59.5 days to get there. So the asteroid's going to be going at the same speed as they are, but it's 4 hours behind.
McCoy is even more enraged by this, especially since Spock appears to have been ignoring him and staring at the obelisk on the screen.
Yeah.
But how does he respond?
Well, he asks what the point is, basically, if there's no plan to destroy the asteroid. And Spock says it's another calculated Vulcan risk.
Which causes McCoy to storm out.
Back at the planet, in their little lodge, Miramani is being attended to by 3 young women preparing for her wedding.
Yeah, and the jealous Salish overhears her blissful gushing.
Yeah. Over at the obelisk, I think Kirk's having ritual signs or something of that nature painted on him.
Yeah, by the Elder, who is telling him he will walk to the Earth Lodge first to allow him to tell the priestess that he will be following for the joining ceremony. He then heads off, and we hear again Kirk's internal thoughts.
Yeah, he says that he has found paradise, and surely no man has ever attained such happiness.
As he gives himself a nice big hug.
Yeah, why not? But
yeah, we're on the path now. Kirk is following the Elder.
And Salish blocks his way with a knife.
He tells him that he cannot permit the joining to happen.
Yeah, Kirk says he's not asking for Salish's permission.
And at this point, he is lunged at and is amazed and quite happy when he cuts Kirk and he bleeds.
Yeah, he says, "Behold, a god who bleeds." And then they fight, and Kirk wins.
Yeah, of course. He gets the upper hand, and Salish tells him to kill him, as he will not rest until he proves to the others that he is not a god. So why do we think that Salish thinks he's not a god? Is it purely out of jealousy, or does he have some other reason for believing? Is it just the cut here?
Just because he bleeds, yeah. He was willing to challenge him even though he was a god, and now he's discovered that he's
Well,
not.
that's what I was going to say. Surely, so before he cut him, he thought he was a god.
Yeah.
That's fairly... If you believe he is a god, then it's quite a position to take to get jealous and tackle a god.
Yeah, well, we've seen Scotty do it.
Yeah, that's
With
true.
Apollo.
But Scotty's a bampot.
That's true. Well, maybe Salish is a...
He looks like it.
Yeah. Back in the lodge, Kirk gets dressed in a coat of many colours.
Well, I've noted here, yeah, it's a bit like Joseph's amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
He and Miramani then stand before the Elder to be married.
Meanwhile, back in Spock's quarters, McCoy has rejoined him, and what does Spock tell him?
He says he didn't come to sickbay because he's not got time. He has to decipher this obelisk before they get back to the planet.
McCoy, however, thinks he is exhausted and is blaming himself for making a decision that didn't pay off.
There's been a time jump here. So McCoy says that Spock's been doing this for the past 58 days. So that's the time since they tried to destroy the asteroid. So they're only a day now away from the planet.
Yeah, I think that passing of time could probably be made clearer.
Yeah.
Anyway, Spock lies down, but rises again as soon as McCoy is left, and once more studies the writing. So, down on the planet, it appears the marriage is taking place, time has passed, and
Kirk's got his shirt off.
He's got his shirt off as he frolics, bare-chested, with Miramani in the wood. However, there is still something in the back of his mind that is bothering him.
If it weren't for the dreams, my mind would be completely at peace.
I thought you no longer had the dreams. That you no longer saw the strange lodge which moves through the sky.
They've come back. They were gone for a while, but they've come back. And I see faces, too, very dim. I feel I should know them. I feel my place is with them, not here. I don't deserve this happiness.
I have a gift for you.
Gift? What?
It may make you happy. Wait.
These last few weeks, my love for Miramani grows stronger with each passing day. However, the dreams return every night. Fragments of memories. I can almost get hold of them, and then...
And so, for the first time in the history of man, the revelation that a woman is pregnant after knowing the guy for a matter of days.
A couple of months now.
Still. It's like, I've got some good news for you. Okay. This isn't good news. I don't even know you.
He's delighted. The embrace once again. That last part of the clip was him thinking again.
Yeah.
You know. They've gone back to the lodge now, obviously a wee bit of time later on, maybe another day or so, and Kirk has made a puddle on the floor.
Yeah, she seems very impressed with his little caveman scratchings.
He's explaining irrigation.
Yes, with the use of light and food preservation, everything is looking rosy. They then get nauseatingly lovey-dovey with each other before thunderclaps and wind begins to howl.
Yes, and they've got obviously very differing expectations of what this means.
Yeah, he's like, it's just wind. She's like, oh no.
It's time for you to save the people.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I know I've been enjoying acting the role of the god.
A film like this.
Oh, there have been plenty.
Yeah.
I mean, even Star Wars.
I suppose.
Oh, there have been numerous, where some
comes to the point, yeah,
it comes to it, and it's like, now you need to do your thing, your god thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Maybe we don't have these powers.
No, stop the thunder, will you? It should be simple for a god like you.
Yes. Hold back the waves. Yeah, he says he doesn't know how to access the temple, and before she can express her concerns, the Elder and Salish burst in, demanding to know why he's not saving them.
Yeah, they're not impressed when he advises that they just hide in the caves.
Yeah, they say they're not safe, don't be ridiculous. Salish asks what he's waiting for, taunting him at this stage.
Yeah, he's got to rouse the temple spirit.
Yes, so Salish gets a bit of his schadenfreude out of the way in this next scene as he watches Kirk beating the walls of the obelisk.
Yeah, he's an utter chancer. He's like, right, okay, right, what can I do here? I've got to get into this thing. No idea. I'll give it a bang.
He's just going, I have come. I am Kirk.
That's not going to work. You're pretending to be a god.
This makes silly.
Maybe if I say it, it'll be true.
Meanwhile, Spock's playing some music up in his quarters
instead of sleeping. So McCoy's not particularly happy when he sees this, but he tells him that he has worked out the writing on the obelisk is not words but musical notes which roughly correspond to an alphabet. Furthermore,
yeah, it's taught him some knowledge.
What's that?
About this super race known as the Preservers, who passed through the galaxy rescuing primitive cultures which were in danger of extinction and seeding them where they could live and grow.
Seeding them, yeah. Kirk's been doing that around the galaxy, I think.
This is distinct from Sargon's people who populated unpopulated worlds with their own seed.
Yeah.
They have this sort of to and fro Spock and McCoy about, oh yeah, no wonder there's so many humanoids then. All these ancient arseholes were doing this sort of thing. They've got a new plan. They're going to find this asteroid deflector and fix it because it's obviously broken down.
I should have thought of that before.
Well, they didn't translate the knowledge until now.
Back down at the obelisk.
Salish has got his big moment. He's raised a rabble.
Yeah, a baying mob.
And
they didn't take much persuasion, did they? It's like this one guy comes back, right? So here's the thing. You're part of this crowd. Salish has been dumped.
Yeah.
He's been made to look a fool. Has been emasculated, as we know, by Kirk. His position, his authority, everything gone.
Yeah.
He runs in and says, see the god that you all think's a god? He's not really. Really? Okay, let's go and get him. You might think, I'm not sure, I'll wait, we'll go and hear him out. But no, straight away, they'll just turn up throw rocks at him.
It's like, yeah, I just want to see you be a god. Just, turn this on, turn this water into wine, walk across the pool. Come on, do something.
Yeah, they're chanting for him to die within seconds of getting there.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. We've all read the Bible.
Now, Miramani.
Yeah, she sides with Kirk at this point, and Salish tells her to go and die with him as they get stoned.
Yeah, they both get stoned to bits, yeah.
Spock and McCoy beam down and chase everybody off. And McCoy checks Kirk and says he needs chapel, so Spock has her beamed down as well.
Yeah, with an emergency kit. Now, Miramani is given a shot, and briefly it comes around to tell Spock that Kirk could not get back into the temple, which he is unsurprised at due to the fact that he didn't come from there and is not in fact a god.
Indeed. McCoy notes that Kirk's fine, except he's lost his memory.
How can he tell that with his little scanner?
He must have asked him some questions. Well, he mentioned having a wife, which confused them. So Spock notes they don't have very much time, and Sulu gets in touch to confirm, yeah, you've only got about an hour.
Why can they not beam him back up?
You need to get into this obelisk.
Yeah, okay.
So they could save Kirk, but they couldn't save Kirk and the planet if they did that.
Yeah.
So Spock asks McCoy if Kirk is strong enough for one of his new superpowers, mind fusion.
Is that a new superpower? He's done that before, has he not?
He's done mind melds.
Is that the same thing? I think it is. This a new script, a new writer.
We've never had it used to cure amnesia before.
Never had to.
I suppose what's happened here is, yes, he's helping Kirk access the memories that are locked away.
Yeah. So
they connect. It seems quite intense, and Spock has to break the link, but...
Well, it's great Shatnering, isn't it?
From both of them.
Yeah.
McCoy is told by Spock that Kirk is an extremely dynamic individual, which I think is code for something.
And then he just says, oh, yeah, that worked. Cheers.
Kirk says, yeah, I'm fine now, thanks. So Spock asks him about the obelisk. He says he was inside it, it's full of equipment. Spock realises this is the deflector, it's not anything separate.
Mm-hmm.
They need to get inside, so Kirk calls for McCoy and Chapel to look after Miramaní and tells Spock he doesn't know how to get inside.
However, Spock tells him the writing is musical notes and they may be able to gain entry by playing them. This reminded me a little bit of the Goonies.
Do, 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 do. Is that the Goonies?
Never mind. Or even by replicating the tonal qualities that he accidentally did when communicating with the ship at the beginning.
Yeah, so Kirk works out what he did.
What was that?
When he said Kirk to Enterprise.
That's rubbish.
And does it again.
And it works.
Yeah. And the hatch opens with, but this time the Miramaní's lying on it and she doesn't fall through. She's taken to the side with the hatch.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kirk tells Scotty to get out of there in 20 minutes if the asteroid hasn't been diverted, noting that he and Spock are expendable, but the ship isn't.
So, after telling McCoy to stay with Miramaní, he and Spock head inside, where Spock tries to act a smartass about the solution.
And Kirk says, just press the bloody button.
I like that.
So he does, and a blue beam shoots out the top of the obelisk and pushes the asteroid away.
This is all really easy, isn't it?
Well, that's what it's designed for.
Yeah, but the whole solution is, okay, just say the words, come in, press the button, done. It's
yeah.
Like a 3 minute, they've been there for months and all of a sudden it's...
They don't want to teach everyone that code in case they misuse it.
Mm. We then head back to the tent where McCoy has some fairly sombre news.
Yes, he unfortunately has to reveal to Kirk that Miramaní's injuries are terminal.
Yeah, he says she has internal injuries, and I think that's obviously they don't want to say that the child has been lost.
Yeah, but also organs are damaged.
Yeah, and she won't live, which gives us a scene which is not the traditional happy ending to an episode.
Kirk, it is true you are safe.
And so your people, Miraman.
I knew you would save them, my chief. When I am better, it will be as it was, will it not?
If that's what you want.
We will live long and happy lives. I will bear you many strong sons. I love you always.
And I love you, Miraman. Always.
Each kiss is as the first.
I thought it was a bit much having Spock sitting in the background playing his lyre while they were...
Spock, will you shut up? This is...
It's an important conversation here, Spock.
What did you make of that last scene then?
Well, the criticism of it would be that you've got your white saviour trope, and then to free Kirk from looking like a bad guy abandoning his wife and child, they have to kill them off. So it's done to preserve his status as a hero.
Yeah, of course. Once we've discovered that that she's pregnant, you can see what's coming here, because there's no way that Kirk's going to make a run for it and just leave her there. So something bad has to happen. He's not taking her with him.
Yeah, I mean, the original draft, she did survive with the child, but obviously wasn't what they wanted to leave Kirk looking like.
No, and I can accept that.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do? You can't have him just saying, right, I'm off you then.
You could take her with him.
Yeah, they're never going to do that, are they? You can't have her hanging about the kid, the brat running about the bridge.
Were there any actual Native Americans in this episode?
Not that I'm aware of, but I've not looked at the trivia. Perhaps you can tell us.
No, I didn't. I'm not aware of any.
Again, I think that was unfortunately fairly commonplace back in the day with the old cowboys and Indians. I think a lot of the time they were played by the white man.
Yeah. How did you feel about the resolution? Do you think that the people of that village now have long-term ramifications from these events, and do you think they took the time to tell them how to work the machine?
I'm not sure.
So what happens the next time there's an asteroid?
Well, the machine, I mean, we don't know how long the machine lasts for. Perhaps once they've fixed it.
Well, it's meant to be operated by the medicine chief.
Right.
Every time there's an asteroid coming, and we don't know how often that is.
Mm-hmm. We've seen this before, however. They tend not to. It's like, well, they get in there and make a mess and then they leave. Yeah, things will be fine. We'll come back and see you. And again,
it's one of the good points about you won't have watched it. The animated series Lower Decks. It's come out in the last year or so. They're called the ship that does second contact to go in and clear up the messes. That
well, they need that. Yeah. And as we've mentioned before, this is a contradiction. In the earlier episodes where Kirk could not abide the thought of a civilization simply living and being content and happy, if they weren't progressing, if they weren't developing technology, it was a worthless life, a worthless existence. And now we're seeing, these people were quite content. They were living simply, and I think that's...
And Kirk was idealising it.
Yeah, even before he banged his head.
Yeah.
Now, I suppose you could say that was part of the Tahiti or whatever it was, the
Tahiti syndrome.
But still, it showed that when people, the humans need. If you don't have that level of calm and peacefulness, you can become stressed out. And I don't think. I'm hoping that the attitude of the show writers has changed, and it's not all about having to advance and develop and.
Yeah. There was, however, some good Spock McCoy stuff in this one.
There was. What's your favourite?
I liked the whole, especially, I particularly liked when McCoy goes back to him and says, look, I know that we said you're an idiot and you think you're an idiot, but you're not. You did exactly what Kirk would have done. Mm-hmm. So that was good. Yeah.
So, third episode of season 3, and still not significantly, in my view, of a lesser standard than the other seasons, the other episodes.
No, I think we're holding steady.
Yeah, and as mentioned at the start, the ending of this,
powerful.
It'd be interesting, and again, I presume that it's never mentioned again and he doesn't have to deal with it, but it would have been nice, and again, if it had been written perhaps today where there was more arcs involved, you might have seen this come into play in the future episodes. I get the feeling, I assume that that's just forgot about and
I imagine so, it's not mentioned again.
But we talk about the sort of stress that a captain can be under, and you could write that in, that he's still worried about this. It's been playing on his mind. He's not quite as on the ball. He's distracted, I suppose. And he should actually take some leave. And in this case, you would take leave. If that happened to you, you should be taking a significant amount of leave and saying, okay, you need to get your head sorted.
Yeah, your wife just got murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take some time here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some trivia?
Sure.
Originally aired on the 4th of October 1968. Jude Taylor was the director, the first of his 5 episodes from the 3rd season. He actually appeared as an actor in The Great Escape opposite Steve McQueen, Richard Attenborough and Donald Pleasance, which is about as close as we're getting to a Columbo connection this week.
Are you sure?
Well, there's one that's slightly half closer. Before directing episodes of shows such as The Fugitive, Mannix and Law & Order SVU. He died in 2008 when he was 76. Margaret Arman returned as writer for the second of her 3 episodes. You can hear more about her in the podcast for The Gamesters of Triskelion. Sabrina Sharf played the tragic Miramaní. This was her only Star Trek role, but she also appeared in films like Easy Rider and Hell's Angels on Wheels.
Oh, she's like a bit of a biker chick, is she?
Yeah. As well as series like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and I Dream of Jeannie, and she's now 77 years old. Rudy Solari played the jealous Salish. This was his only Star Trek role. He appeared in series like Police Squad and Mrs. Columbo, which is
That's
Maybe a connection.
It's a Colombo. Yep, it's a Colombo connection.
And he died in 1991 when he was 56. Cancer. Richard Hale played Goro. You wouldn't know that name because it wasn't used in the episode. That was the elder of the village. He was born in 1892, making him one of our 19th century guest stars.
Nice one.
And he died in 1981 when he was 88, having appeared in films like Ben-Hur and To Kill a Mockingbird, as well as series like 4-Star Theatre and Perry Mason. Okay, some trivia. Apparently this is the only season 3 episode filmed on location. We'll see if that's true. There's a rumour out there that the characters in the obelisk form the basis for the language used by the Predator species in the Predator movies. Not sure I'm buying that.
That sounds like an urban myth.
Yeah. Episode takes place over the course of 2 months, as we discussed, which makes it the longest in the series. And we mentioned this as well. The planet was called Amarant, which isn't a term I was familiar with. I presume it's a contraction of American Indian.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of international titles, the Germans go with Der Obelisk, which is fairly self-explanatory. In Italian, it was Il Paradiso Perduto, which means the Lost Paradise. Again, I don't think that's quite what happens.
What's the Japanese going for? Come on.
Okay. Shoakusei Shototsu Kosusekin, which means, you're going to enjoy this one, coming close to crash course with an asteroid.
Brilliant.
Pretty much nails it.
Yeah.
Next week, it's the 4th episode of season 3, and the children shall lead, which sounds juvenile.
It does. Is this like Murray, maybe? This is where the big dip comes in.
You think?
Possibly.
Anything with children. It's actually got a child star we've seen before.
Okay.
In the meantime, find us on social media at Trek Podcast, Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. We're also on YouTube, where we put every episode up for folks who prefer that medium. And if you go to astartrekpodcast.com, you'll find every episode of the show as it is released, where you can leave your thoughts, reminiscences, complaints or any other comments.
Until then,
cheerio.
Bye bye.